right? So it's supposed to be from freezer to fryer. No thawing. This potato is not designed for thawing. Some other accounts, some other companies, they thaw their potato. That's designed for thawing, okay? But your potato is designed from freezer to fryer, okay? Now, if you put frozen minus 18 into the fryer, what happened to the oil? You started with 350, right? You put minus 18 French fries in it. What's going to happen to the oil? Temperature. It's going to go to 110, 120, okay? Are you supposed to keep French fries in cold oil? The French fries has to be in hot oil, 350, 175, okay? This is the proper way to have a good texture French fries. It has to be crispy, okay? The longer you let the potato in a cold oil, it's gonna become soggy. It's not gonna give you that crispness, the crunch, okay? So you always have to cook it from frozen to fryer. And the most important, the oil has to be at 350 the majority of the time. But if you put it, it's gonna bring it to 200, 250. How can I bring it back? Each fryer, you guys are using FryMaster. Each fryer has something called recovery. Okay? As soon as you put the temperature goes down, the fryer will kick in and will try to bring the heat back to 350. Okay? If you hear it, it heats up. That recovery has to be in less than a minute. It has to bring you to 350 in less than a minute. Why? Because we don't want that potato to sit in cold oil. Okay? Because you're cooking the potato for how long? 2 minutes? 2:45? Okay? So you don't have that much time. The oil has to come really quick. Okay? Heat up really quick. So the fryer is designed to do the recovery in less than 1 minute. What happens if I fill the basket full? The recovery will take much longer. Instead of 1 minute, it's going to take 1.5 to 2 minutes. Okay? So why do we always tell you to put half basket? Not more than half a basket. To allow the fryer to heat up back. Okay? You need to heat up that oil really fast. Okay? Because you don't want the potato sitting in cold oil. Okay? So we always recommend half basket, maximum. Also, what are you supposed to do to help the fryer do the recovery? How much oil you're supposed to put in the fryer? Each fryer has a maximum and minimum, right? You see the levels, the oil level? Why they put you an oil level? To help the fryer with the recovery. You don't want to put more oil because it will be harder for the fryer to heat up. Okay? These are very important. You have to be within that range for the recovery time to come back up. Because you're putting cold French fries, you don't want too much oil because that put a lot of pressure on the fryer. And the most important, you want that oil to heat up really fast. Okay? That's why we always say 1/2 basket in each fryer. Don't put 2, okay? You're making a lot of pressure on the fryer to heat up. If you need more, you put another fryer, okay? Don't put 2 baskets in 1 fryer. Always 1/2 basket or a quarter or less in 1 fryer, okay? Now you fry the potatoes, right? We have to make sure the temperature is correct, right? All the time. You have an external thermometer. You check the oil because sometimes the reading outside is not necessarily the same as the oil. You have to make sure, yes, the actual sometimes is not the same as the outside. So you always have to check it every once in a while, every day, every other day. You have to make sure, is the oil matching? Is 350? Okay, you're safe. Because sometimes you say 350, the inside is 300. You're off. That will give you different color, different taste, different texture, different everything. Okay? Now the cooking time we said what? 245? Okay, we heard 250 from other previous sessions. 250, 245, we heard 3 minutes. Okay? We're all over the place, okay? So we're gonna try to unify that to everybody based on what Herfy wanted, okay? Our product, the cain, recommend your fries to be cooked from 1:35 seconds to 2 1/4. That's the cain range. This is the time you're supposed to cook these fries with. But Herfy wanted to cook it from 2.5 to 2:45 to 3 minutes. In the past, were 3 minutes. Now they lowered it down to 2:45. This is what I understood, okay? Each unit is different than the others. They say, listen, if I cook it at 2.5, I'm getting the same result at the 2:45, okay? Because my fryer are a little bit different than others. That's something that we need to talk with your management and make sure that everybody is unified. 2:45, from cooking all the fries in your fryers, 2:45 was the best, okay? So 2:45, that should be everybody followed, okay? Temperature is very important. And we're gonna show you what happened if you cook at 2:15, 2:45, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. We're gonna cook all these batches and we're gonna show you the result. How the flavor is gonna change, the texture is gonna change, the solid inside, how the potatoes start becoming hollow, okay? We're gonna show you all this. So 2:45 is your best color and texture that Herfy wanted, okay? Now, after you fried the potato, okay, you took it out of the freezer, you filled the basket, right? Where do you fill the basket? On top of the fryer or on the side?
On this side.
Come on, guys. I know Herfy. Nobody fills it on the side. No, fill over the basket. Okay? Should be on the side.
But in reality, it's on top of the oil.
It's on top of the oil. Absolutely. Guys, I mean, we're just telling you what's right and what's wrong, okay? It's up to you, okay? I'm not there to check on it, but we are watching and we're seeing. They're all filling it over the fryer. That's a big no. Because all the ice, all the brackets, it's gonna come in the fryer, okay? That's gonna make your skin warm, okay? Destroying the oil. The best thing, always fill it on the side. And you have to show your employees that, okay? Hey guys, don't do this. Fill it on the back, then take it and immediately put it in the fryer. Some of them, they fill it, okay? They take it and they hang it on top of the fryer until they get it. And what's gonna happen? It's gonna thaw. So you're thawing the potatoes, okay? So always fill, immediately take it, button, drop it in the oil, okay? After you drop it in the oil, what are you supposed to do after 30 seconds?
Shaking.
Shake it. Why do we shake?
Stick together.
Absolutely. In those cases, guys, in the bags, sometimes we find potato we call marriages, okay? Potato stock. Why? Because you received the shipment from Bitzaga -5. You took it, you put it in the freezer, brought it -18. Every time the temperature fluctuates, potatoes melt and then they stick together, okay? Because all the potatoes are IQF, individually quick frozen, okay? Each separate. So if you thaw them and you defrost and freeze again, they stick. If you take that and you put it in the fryer, if you don't shake, you're allowing potatoes to stick to the, sometimes the middle doesn't cook properly. Doesn't get the color. So you're shaking it to make sure the oil is mixing around the French fries. You're separating any marriages, okay? And also you're mixing the temperature in the fryer, okay? So we do that. That's a good practice, okay? Now you don't put it and you just like, and we see that a lot. Take it out and shit. You don't need that. Just a small shake, you're fine, okay? And as soon the bell goes, you're supposed to remove it. Don't let it sit because you have a burger to make or something. No, you have to take it out automatically, okay? And when you remove it, you let it sit on top of the fryer. You drain it for how long?
7.
In second, and then immediately you dump it into the holding area. Okay? Don't let it sit on top of the fryer because there is a lot of steam coming. Okay? You don't want the potato, the texture that we talked about goes away. Okay? You talk, drain it, and then you dump it back into the. Because what is the enemy of fries? Water, steam, right? Correct. Steam is the most enemy for the texture. Yes. Okay. Every time, how often you skim?
Should be every batch.
Should be every batch, right? Every batch you're supposed to skim because sometimes, and we notice this in a lot of your units, all the baskets are really destroyed. It's not good baskets, okay? Some of them have holes, some of them the metal is open, okay? Why? Because they're putting double basket inside each other or they're putting them on top of each other, and that's destroying the metals on the corners, okay? And that allow the French fries, when you're frying it, it just comes out, okay? And when you take the French fries, there's French fries in the oil, okay? What happened to those fries? You're doing your thing, it's getting burnt, okay? And if you put another batch, sometimes the customer gets it burnt, French fries, sometimes the oil gets burnt. So skimming is very important, okay? After every batch, you have to have the habit, skim. We see stuff is floating in the fryer as a video, okay? It's a good habit to start getting into this practice, okay? Now, we know after you drained it, you dump it in the holding station. What is the purpose of the holding station? What? Remove the excess oil. What else? Salting. For salting, right? What else? Portioning. Holding time. Stay hot, right? What is the last important thing, which is the most important? Serving, which is portioning.
Make sure that we serve fresh food to customers.
Correct. All this is correct, but there's one most important, which is keeping the moisture away. Steam. You know, the potatoes have steam, right? Now, there's elements on top, on the bottom. These, they stay hot for what? Yes. To keep the product hot, but the most important is to keep the steam away, okay? Not to keep the steam, because the enemy of French fries is steam, right? Moisture, water coming out of the French fries. So we need to keep that always aerated. No moisture around the product. As minimal as possible. That's why we tell you, when you fry, you don't serve the French fries right away in a cup. Why? Because you're trapping the moisture in. You're supposed to keep it open, breathe, okay? Like to keep it hot, allows you to salt, allow you to mix and do this, but you're not supposed to portion French fries until you get your order, okay? That's the best way. And you have to throw them after what? 7 minutes, because the customer is not going to get a very crisp. So you have a very small window, okay? You're not supposed to cook big batches and store it in the heat lamp area. This is just for 5-7 minutes before the order comes in. And don't portion until you really get an order, because you want the steam out, okay? You don't want it trapped, okay? We know sometimes we are very busy, right? We don't have time. We need to catch up. I have orders. So they cook a lot and they portion immediately. That's a big no-no, guys, okay? It's your business, you know what's proper, but try not to fill it too much because you're trapping the moisture in, okay? Don't overcook because you have a rush, okay? Always try, the customer willing to wait a little bit, but get a good quality French fries. Not to over, because that's what McDonald's does. You have to wait. They give you, they monitor very closely. Because if you cook too much, 7 minutes, they have to throw a lot of potatoes, okay? Because the potato we created for you, it's a natural potato. It doesn't have any coating, anything on it, okay? Burger King use a coated French fries because Burger King said, listen, I don't want to keep throwing after 5 minutes. I have a lot of traffic, I have issues, I don't want to keep wasting French fries. Give me something that can stay hot for longer. So what did we do? We have a product, it's called coated French fries. It has a potato starch coating, okay? What does this do? It keeps it crispy longer, retain heat for 20 minutes. You can cook it, it stays hot for 20 minutes. It protects the heat. But some people don't like it, some people like it, okay? It saved them a lot on waste. But McDonald's and you guys want natural potato, you don't want it after 5-7 minutes, let's throw it away. Because we get crispy fries naturally, okay? So this is the product that we created for you, okay? Now everybody knows French fries is always served what? First, right?
No.
Last, right? You always assemble your burger, your drinks, everything. Then the last thing, you fry, you put it in the cup, and you serve it. You serve it where? Directly on a tray, he's gonna eat in, or in the bag last, before you send it out. Don't put stuff before and then put other stuff because you're trapping the steam. Okay? Any other questions? Now, we talked about what affects the quality and yield of a French fries. Receiving it, storing it, cooking it, holding it in the holding tank, and serving it. Okay? Those things, these procedures that we shared with you guys, to you maybe it's a small thing, but it's really important on the integrity and the quality of the potatoes. Okay? If you follow these things, you will be on the safe side. Okay? And this is what you need to train your people. Because we give you a good quality long potato, 4 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches, and 2 inches and below. And if you don't follow these procedures, you're gonna call us and you say, listen, I have a lot of problems. Okay? Then we come and visit your place and we try to find out where the problem. Is it Benzaga? Is it you? Okay? Muhammad visit you. Sometimes we might come, so trying to find where is the problem? What is their issue? Is it in receiving? Is it in storage? Cooking, holding, or serving? Because we know what the ratio is and where is the problem. Is it in the cooking? Is it in the holding? Is it in the storage? Okay? Because when we come to the restaurant, we target on one thing. Length, we know it's supposed to be the mix, the ratio. Okay? We try to figure out where the problem is. Also, we look if you have a problem with the texture. Texture, where does it come from? What can give texture? Starch? No, sugar doesn't give texture. What gives texture? The potato crispy. Starch and the cooking, right? If the temperature is hot, not hot, you cooked it enough, didn't cook it enough. That's what makes the potato is a texture, right? Texture is the cooking and the solids, the starch, or how much water in the potato. Defects. What is defects? Black spots, skin, things like that on the potato. That you have nothing to do with this. This is from the factory, but we will tell you about what we look for, okay? Color. What gives color? Sugar. Cooking. If you overcook it, undercook it, right? Sugar is good to give you the color, but if you overcook it, you destroy it. Or if you don't cook it enough, you will not get the color. Also, what else give you color?
Oil quality, cooking time.
Dirty oil. You're not skimming. The oil is burnt. Will it give you good color? What else doesn't give you good color?
Cook long time.
No oil. If the oil is new, does it give you the color? Sometimes it doesn't. The first batch always doesn't give you a good color. Okay? We'll show you. Always a fresh batch with a fresh oil doesn't give you the color. After you fry 2, 3, 4 times, colors start becoming really good. Okay? So the longer you fry the potatoes in a fryer, after 4th, 5th, 10th time, colors start becoming much golden color. In the beginning, you fry at 245, color is still slightly off. Okay? Flavor. What gives flavor? Starch, sugar, water, oil. If it's dirty oil, flavor, right? What else? Salt, right? What else? Yeah, we said dirty oil. What if you are cooking, which we see a lot, you're cooking potato in fish or chicken? We see that. You rush, boom, you fry it in the fish or chicken. What that do? It gives you a different flavor, right? What else gives you a different flavor? The type of oil. If you use a dirty, cheap oil, it gives you off flavor. You say, what is this oil? Carry transfer, right? So sometimes when you call us and you say, listen, I have a problem with link, we try to analyze. We put forward, is it the distribution, is storage, breakage, where the problem is. Texture, texture is the cooking. Binzegar has nothing to do with the texture. Unless they thaw the product. It's been thawed, it affects the texture. But a lot of the texture is operation, okay? Defects, you have nothing to do with this. Binzegar doesn't have to do this. It's our issue. Color, that's your operation. Also, color will be affected if it's been thawed. Binzegar has a very small influence if they thaw the product. If it's -5, +5, it affects the color, okay? Flavor, you guys, operation, okay? Dirty oil, not cooking it enough, you caramelize it too much, dirty oil, that will give the off flavor, okay? So, let's talk about each one more in depth, okay? We talked about link, what affects link, storage, right? So, rough handling, it will break it. We know that we have to treat the potatoes like eggs, right? So if you take the bag and you just drop it like this, you broke it. You put it in the chest freezer and you pushed on it, you break it, okay? So it could be by rough handling. Excessive time handling dock to freezer. If you are leaving it sitting on the dock or the storage area before it gets in, it will affect the length. Improper rotation. We see this. You have one bag left in that freezer, right? Bring more French fries. He brings it. He doesn't take that out and put the first in, first out. He leaves it and he puts on top of it. Okay? And that bag, sometimes they get left for a week, a month. By the time you take it out, it's been broken so bad because of the pressure. So it's not first in, first out. So you're supposed to use first in, first out. Stock over 6 highs, as we said. We have to check Benzaga. Are they putting 2 pallets on top of each other? Are you putting more than 6? Okay, that could cause a breakage. Also, we talked about rough handling in the restaurant. Thawing prior to cooking it, if you're thawing it. Improper filling the baskets. Now, everybody knows about the French fries. You have long potatoes and small potatoes, right? Always we find the long potatoes, they stay on the top. The small potatoes, they find their way and they fall on the bottom. Okay? We find this all the time. All the French fries stay on the top because they're big, and the small ones, they find their way and they go on the bottom. Okay? What happens if you don't mix the bag? You're supposed to mix the bag before you start frying. Why? Because you want to mix that thing. If you don't mix, the first 5 customers, they're gonna get big French fries. Okay? The last 10 customers, they're gonna get what? Small fries. You're gonna get people complaining, what is this French fries? It's too small. Okay? 2, first, you got unhappy customers. 2, what? You didn't get the yield because you're supposed to mix it. You gave all the good ones to one customer and the others to other. So you didn't get the yield you're supposed to get. So you're supposed to mix the bag, okay? Before you put it in the basket. Some accounts, big accounts, they mix the bag, and also in the fryer, they have to go this way and then they have to go this way. So they ensure the mix is 100%. Because if you don't do that, you're losing the yield. Those are little things that they watch a lot for. Now, length, we know what the problems could be, and we will watch it. Now, texture. We said texture comes from where? Solid, right? First, if the oil is dirty, it's not going to give you a good texture. 2, oil temperature is too low. You remember the recovery? And the oil itself, if it's not hot, it's not 350, will it give you the texture? No. Okay? Also, fry recovery is too slow. I told you some of the machines, sometimes the problem is in the machine because it's not heating up properly. It needs to be calibrated. Okay? It's supposed to give it in less than a minute. Okay? So if the oil is not recovered really quickly, you're not going to get the texture. Frying time is too short. You're only cooking it for 1 minute. Or the temperature is very low and you're cooking it for 245, but really the temperature is not proper. So the texture is not going to be there. Okay? Incorrect thawing procedure, which you don't do. Okay? But some accounts, they thaw the product. But if you thought, you're not going to get the texture. Now, what if you get soggy fries? What could happen? Overfilled basket. Again, if you fill the basket to the top, what are you doing the recovery? It's taking longer to recover. Potatoes sitting in cold oil, it becomes soggy. Too long over fryer. You fried it, you let it sit on top of the fryer for 1 minute before that gives it soggy fries because of the steam. Improper salting. Salting is very important. If you put too much salt, if you fry it and you let it sit, okay, and you didn't salt it right away, why we salt right away?
To adhere
To the French fries, okay? If you try to salt after oil, became cold, it's very hard to adhere to it. You will see the salts on the top, okay? That was the external texture. Now we're talking about the internal texture, okay? Which is similar. The external and the internal, same procedure. What affects the external affects the internal. If the oil temperature is too low, the inside is not cooked, okay? It's still hard, raw. Also, fry recovery too slow. If the fryer is not heating very well, it will not give you a good texture. Frying time is too short. You're not cooking it for 2 and 45. You're cooking it for 2 minutes. Okay? That gives you a very improper texture. Overfilled basket. Again, if you fill the basket too much, the oil is cold. It's not going to give you a good texture. Also, if you are cooking it, okay, oil temperature is too high. That's going to give you improper texture internally. Okay? If you cook meat too high, okay, you're burning the french fries. Fry recovery is too fast. Sometimes the fryer heats up in less than 1 minute, but it's really hot. Okay? It's not good. Frying time is too long. You're frying it for 5 minutes, 4 minutes. And we're going to show you that how it's going to affect the texture. It's going to become very crispy, but the inside is not good. You're not going to taste potatoes. Okay? Underfilled baskets. Sometimes if the fryer is too hot and you're cooking a small batch, it's going to burn. Okay? Really fast. Product allowed to thaw. If you let it thaw and you cook it, you're going to do it 245. It's designed from -18. If you thawed it and you cooked it for 245, you're going to burn it. Okay? You're not supposed to cook it for that. We talked about length. What impacts length, right? Handling, receiving, storage, cooking, all that. Now, we talked about texture. Temperature oil has a very important role. The solid, the starch in the potato, too hot, too cold affects the texture, okay? Now we're going to talk about defects. What is defects? Sometimes potato, it has skin on it, right? Potato skin. Now we peel that potatoes. Sometimes, potato has little grooves and stuff like that. Sometimes it's very difficult to get the skin between those grooves. Like we peel potato at home. Sometimes it peels perfect. Sometimes you end up with little holes. That's very difficult. You have to get the skin out. Because we don't process by hand. Everything we inject steam. Okay? We have a room like this, big. They put tons of potatoes and they inject steam. They blister the skin and then they take it off. Okay? But sometimes we end up with little holes with the skin in it. Okay? Now we have machines, X-ray, watches, all these little skins, and they remove them, okay? But sometimes, if the skin is underneath the French fries, let's say this is the French fries, okay? The skin is right here, or right here. When it goes into the X-ray, these constantly moving, guys. The French fries is always moving, okay? So so the X-ray can catch them. If it's like here, it catches it, it pushes it out, okay? But when the French fries has a black spots on the bottom, when it comes to X-ray, what's going to happen? It's going to pass. Okay? So how do we control that? If we speed the conveyor belt, what's going to happen? There will be a lot of potatoes going through, right? If we speed it up. If we slow it down, we will catch every single one, right? We will catch it. What happened to the cost if we slow down the speed of production? Cost goes up, right? If you slow down the X-ray, we can catch every single piece. The cost of production goes up. But if we speed it up, cost goes down, but what you're going to end up with? A lot of defects, right? So we have a specification or a speed that makes a lot of sense. We allow, you cannot have 100% free of defects, okay? We have a percentage, you're allowed certain mistakes, okay? That's what we call specification or tolerance that you're allowed with certain mistakes, okay? So, when we come to defects, there are several things we talk about defects. One, defects where something called sugar ends. Okay? That means the concentration of sugar is what? Too high on the edges. Okay? What gives color? Sugar, right? When you cook it, it becomes caramelized and becomes dark, right? That's what gives the color. Why here there's no color? Here it's very high color. What does this tell you guys? When you see potato like this, that means the potato is old. Okay? How do we know that it's old? As I mentioned, a potato like this, right? When we harvest the potato, quality is good, right? At home, how long can you store the potato? For 1 month? 1 month? Maybe like, this is how long. If quality is here, in your home, the quality will go like this in 1 month, 2 months, right? In the factory, we can store it for 12 months. And when we take it out of the warehouse, it goes into the factory, we can bring that scale, we can fix the problem, we can remove, bring it up. When we process it, we can bring the curve even up. So you end up with this much. This is perfect potato. Sometimes when you are at the end of the crop, then you have problems because it's like anything else. Towards the end of the crop, you're having problems. Even us, when we get old, we can't walk, we start having problems, right? Same thing with potatoes. In the beginning, it's perfect. Towards the end of the year, the potatoes start having problems, okay? When we process it, we can do as much as we can to bring the problem to small, but you're allowed certain mistakes, okay? Because it's a natural thing. You will not see these mistakes here. Or here it's going to be small. But here, this is the maximum that you can see as mistakes in the A grade, your potato. If you want B grade, you see more mistakes. If you want C grade, you see a lot more mistakes. Perfect said, no, I want perfect, so we close the gap, okay? You pay more, but we give you a good quality. But you're allowed certain mistakes, okay? Now, what does this mean? When the potatoes start getting old, it wants to grow, right? You start seeing green stuff. That green stuff needs food, right? Need energy. Where is it gonna get the energy from?
Like sugar.
It's gonna get the sugar and the water from inside the potato. So all the sugar and inside the potato start going towards to the sides. So if I cut the potato, the sugar concentration at the edges is very high. In the middle, there's no sugar. Okay? So, if I take it to the factory and I try to balance, if I remove sugar from here, what's going to happen to here? It's already have no sugar. If I remove sugar out of the whole potato, here it will become very, very white. It will not give you the color. And if I add sugar here to make it a little bit golden color, this will become even more dark. Okay? You are not going to find this in your product. Maybe one piece out of a whole bag, which is allowed. Okay? But you're not going to see this. This you will see it where? In the C and B grade, which is cheap product. Okay? But your grade is perfect. But if you see this, what does this tell you? It's an older potato. Okay? What also this can tell you? When do you see this product like this? If you start seeing problem like this, when do you start seeing it?
Potatoes.
Maybe for October.
Absolutely, maybe January, towards the end of the crop, right? Because we're reaching to the end of the crop. Okay? That's when you might see it, because the potato, that's it, had it, enough. It's been stored for a whole year. Sugar start going, you might start seeing this. Okay? You will not see it here because it's fresh. Potato is good, okay? But you'll already start seeing this sometimes towards the end. But we treat this in the factory. We try to eliminate as much as we can. But because you're dealing with a natural potato, sometimes you're allowed certain mistakes, okay? What else under defects? This is something called sugar ends, okay? Also, what do you see? You've probably seen these, right?
Yes.
Everybody's seen this in the French fries. What are this? Exactly what we were talking about. Pieces of the skin inside the French fries that we cannot remove, okay? Now, because you have allowed certain mistakes, we know exactly the size of all these mistakes, and we put them in the bag with a percentage of a ratio, okay? You're allowed maybe 10 pieces of this. You might not see it. Here you might see 3 or 4 pieces, okay? It's allowed. You might see 1 or 2 of these. You might see 1 or you see nothing. This is critical dark. You might see 1 or 2, okay? The same over here. So all these, we have names for them, and we know the size, and we know how much in each bag, okay? Based on the X-ray and how fast that X-ray is, okay? Also, we see these. What are this? As I told you, potato has skin, right? We inject steam to remove the skin. Sometimes the skin is very thick. The potato has very thin skin, it's perfect. It removes everything. But the potato has thick skin. Sometimes you don't remove all the layer, okay? Part of the layer stays there. That's underneath. That's why it's greenish, okay? This is fine. You can eat it, you can fry it, you will not even see it, okay? But when you open the bag, you might see something like this, which is fine. It's the skin, how to peel, okay? This is the ruler that we use to measure the size